There is no right way to camp, but there's definitely an easier way. A lot of people either overpack or underpack, so today I'm breaking it down exactly what you need to bring camping so you can spend less time stressing and more time enjoying it. Everything I'm sharing today is based on my personal experience camping in a lot of different environments. I'm a backpacker, a multi-day rafter, camper, road tripper, I do it all. So I'm breaking it down into simple systems to make it easier to understand and prepare. We're going to cover first aid, your shelter, sleep system, food, water, fire, and comfort. This isn't about roughing it. This is about camping smarter if you're new to this. But before we dive in, if you like these types of videos, please give me a like and let me know that you enjoy it. I super appreciate it. Let's dive in. Okay, system one is first aid, and I'm starting with this one because it's one of those things people either completely forget or wildly overdo. And it really doesn't need to be complicated, but it is essential. You can build your own, or I just bought this one online because it covered all of the essentials and it was really handy to just have. But you can absolutely make your own with just your basics. When I think about first aid, I break it down into simple categories. You do not need a massive kit, but you do need coverage for common issues. In the categories, I think of it as wound care, stings or bites, burn care, and pain relief. So you're going to want coverage with bandages, gauze, antiseptic, tweezers, sting relief, tick care and bug spray, burn cream, ibuprofen, and pain relief. You're basically planning for likely problems, not the worst case scenarios. Okay, so your shelter or your tent is going to totally depend on what kind of environment you're going to be camping in, and they range from simple, tiny, lightweight backpacking tents to giant gazebo-style canvas with a whole cook stove inside. Those are pretty freaking bougie. They're nice if you're camping in winter or if you're a hunter. But what I want to highlight is that you need to choose a tent based on the weather conditions and the environment you're going to be in. So if you're predominantly going to be camping in like spring and summer and during fair weather, you can get away with pretty much any tent, or even just cowboy camp or sleep under a tarp. Those are totally fine options. Lots of people do it all the time and it's really fun. But if you're going to be trying some more extreme weather environments, you're going to definitely want to choose a tent or a shelter that is rated to the weather condition you're going to be in. But it all counts. You can do a tent, you can do a hammock tent, you can do a rooftop tent, a camper. I'm personally partial to car camping. I love setting up a platform in the back of my car and just sleeping back there. It makes road tripping super easy for me. But either way, I just wanted to highlight that our shelters should be chosen based on the environment we're going to be in, so we're not caught out and uncomfortable. There's one area I do not cut corners. It is my sleep system. I think sleep makes or breaks a trip. Getting good sleep, comfortable sleep while you are out makes an huge difference, at least in my opinion. Some people don't care, but for me, good sleep changes the whole camping experience. It just makes it better or worse. So a lot of people think that their whole insulation comes from their sleeping bag, and that's not necessarily true. Your sleeping pad, what you're sleeping on, actually accounts for half the warmth of your sleep system. Words are hard. So if you're going to be camping in cooler weather, you want to pay attention to that rating of your sleeping pad. I have slept on an air mattress and it got down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit at night, and I woke up and I was in a 0-degree sleeping bag and I woke up absolutely freezing because of all that cold air that was just sitting right under me. So your sleeping pad is going to account for half the warmth, so that's something really good to know. Also, when it comes to your sleeping bag, wait, where is it? Also, when it comes to your sleeping bag, you're gonna find two numbers when you're selecting it. One of them is the comfort level and one of them is the extreme level. So comfort is what they rate it as it can get this cold and you're still gonna be pretty comfortable. You're gonna be well insulated. The extreme level means it's survivable, but you're not gonna be comfortable. And you can usually find them on the bags they come in. Right now I'm using a 30-degree sleeping bag. This is pretty good for any kind of summer or spring camping because it's probably not getting down to 30 degrees at night. And especially if you're a woman, I always use a sleeping bag that is rated like 10 degrees lower, 10 or 15 degrees lower than what it says it's going to get down to at night, because as women we just kind of run colder, and so it's really good to have some extra warmth built in. Some other sleep options to consider is if I'm tent camping and space allows, I always bring a cot and then put a foam pad on top of that. That to me is the most comfortable way to sleep. I don't really like air mattresses. I'm getting up there in my 30s and my back doesn't like air mattresses. They're just not comfortable for me. But if they're comfortable for you, they're a great option. I typically prefer a cot to get me off the ground and a nice thick foam pad that really keeps me insulated and is cushy. I just sleep more comfortable that way. And I'm a side sleeper, so it's a little bit better support. You can also sleep in a hammock if it gets cold. There are quilts you can put under yourself to keep that cold air off of you. There's a ton of sleep setups. So this is just kind of a basic overview so you have an idea of what to look for as you're building out your setup. I also want to make a note that I have a ton of camping gear of all kinds, and this is something I have built up over years. I started slowly, went and upgraded here and there, and so this isn't something, I mean, unless you have the means, by all means, buy all the best stuff. But for some of us, it takes time to build up our collection and really feel out what we want. So I just want to encourage you to continue to get out there, keep testing things, and build up your gear over time. System 4 is water and fire, and a good rule of thumb when it comes to water is about half a gallon of water per person per day. We're thinking about drinking water, washing hands, doing dishes, putting the fire out. So if you're remote, bring a water filter, and if you're car camping, a good water jug does the job just fine. So if you're camping, chances are you're going to want a fire. So some things to remember about that is you're going to want to check for fire restrictions before your trip. A lot of places by July, there's no fire allowed. So you're going to want to make sure to check that. But if fires are allowed, you're going to want to bring some wood. I highly recommend sourcing it locally. This prevents the spread of parasites and disease to the environment. You're going to need a way to process that wood. So you're going to need an axe or a small knife, and always make sure that you put it out completely before bed, drown it and stir it. When I was younger, I actually had a fire reignite in the middle of the night after I dumped a bucket of water on it, and it was roaring. I woke up to it fully going, and that lesson has always really stuck with me because I happen to know that 90% of wildfires are man-made. So I try to be really intentional about putting out fires, and then if it's harder to get started in the morning, that's kind of okay too. It's kind of like a personal challenge. So I just wanted to make sure to make that note when it comes to fires. Also, you're going to probably want a fire starter of some kind, a lighter, flint and steel, those little fire starter things. I have a free homemade fire starter that I make, and I'm working on it for a camping hacks video. So let me know down in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. Okay, so system 5 is your food, and food is one of those things that can be as simple or as complicated as you want. Some people want it super easy, they don't want to think about it, and some people love to put on a feast. So it's really up to you. So you're going to need a cooler to store your food, a dry box for all of your cooking stuff, and you want to think about animal deterrent. So if you're in a bear area, you want to be preparing for keeping animals out of your food. Some campgrounds have bear boxes that you can store your coolers in, but if you're not in one of those areas, you want to be storing your food properly. So that's something to think about, and checking the area you're going to be in. Always think about where you're going to be camping and what animals are going to be around. So you're also going to want a camp stove. You're going to need utensils. You can cook, or there's no cooking at all. You can eat sandwiches or cold pizza or dehydrated meals, hot dogs over the fire. There's not really a rule book here. But if you want a full video on some great camping food ideas and what I cook, I have a ton. Just let me know. I would be happy to make a video about that. So along with a way to cook your food, you're gonna need something to cook your food on and a way to serve it. So don't forget that. Something I always forget is an oven mitt. I didn't this time, but that's like one thing I always seem to forget. I don't really know why. One arguably non-essential thing that I always bring is a simple dish pit. And arguably it's non-essential, but living outside can get dirty really fast, and I learned this system from multi-day rafting trips. So I just get 2 buckets of water. One is soap, one is rinse. And then I keep some soap and some cleaning supplies in a little Ziploc bag that goes in my dry box. And this is just really handy for keeping things kind of clean at camp. And it's also a great way when you first get it going, is a good hand wash station. It's just like, it keeps everything tidier and it just feels better. So non-essential, but I recommend it. Okay, our last system is comfort, and comfort technically isn't an essential, but I would argue it makes camping way more fun. And honestly, I think that's pretty much the point. Some people love roughing it, and I totally support that, but I'm a little bit of a bougie girl, and so I like being comfortable. So some comfort items for you guys to consider is a really great chair. I have one I love. It's great for sitting by the fire or around the lake or by the creek or stargazing. It just adds to it. When I grew up, we just sat on logs and never again. Another part you should consider is bug deterrent. I'm a mosquito magnet, so I always have been, so I always bring a good bug spray. I'll put Picadarren on my tent, and I'll bring candles. It's technically a non-essential, but for me it's a non-negotiable. Another thing, if you can, bring a hammock. This is great for naps. My kids love hanging out in it. It's great for reading. It's just another one of those like cozy items that makes camping really fun. I also have this little $12 toaster that is awesome. Having fresh hot toast at camp just hits way different. So and then also string lights. They are great for if there is a fire restriction. It still kind of adds to the ambiance. It's great for lighting the way to different parts of camp or lighting up your tent. So those are just a few good comfort items that I would recommend. So at the end of the day, camping doesn't need to be complicated. When you think about it in systems instead of individual items, you naturally don't overpack, and you bring what supports your experience and doesn't stress you out. So if you found this helpful, please give it a like so that it reaches more beginners. I've got more camping videos coming up soon, so make sure you're subscribed. And I hope this helped. I will see you on the next adventure.